children are often attracted to comics, and you can hardly find comics more appealing than those created by Marvel or DC Comics. So children, even African children who are into comics, are often more attracted to characters like Spider-Man, Superman, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and so on. These characters have even become more popular with the production and box office success of superhero movies. But Nigerian comics are fast emerging. This development is being led by a group of talented comic illustrators and entrepreneurs who are determined to promote African stories and comic characters as much as they want to entertain. We visited the exhibition stand of one of the leading producers of local comics at the recently concluded Nigeria International Book Fair in Lagos, and we had a chat with him. Enjoy this. Peter, what inspired this?
Okay, this was actually inspired by a comic I saw by another Nigerian guy. That was like a couple of years ago. So my brother bought it at a fast food, I think like Mr. Biggs or something. I said, look, see what I saw. That is a Nigerian comic. So when I read it, I was actually impressed, and I said, okay, I would like to do this. So I now, went about doing my own, and then from there, that was like since 2006. That's when I made my first comic, and I've been doing it since then.
But of course, you had interests in comics before.
Oh, of course. Right from when I was little, like the first comic I ever drew was actually when I was 6 years old. When my dad first bought me a comic, I looked at it and I said, okay, I wanted to draw my own. And now I got pieces of paper and started drawing my own comic. That was like since I was 6. Okay. So I've always had interest in comics, but I never actually thought of doing it professionally or to really take a very serious interest in it till a couple of years ago. That was at 2004-05. That's when I said I wanted to.
The idea of this is to create local
made comics,
African stories and characters.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, 100%. I only support locally made comics by local artists. Everything that you see here was all drawn by Nigerian artists. There's no foreign artists. Even if it's a foreign character, it's still drawn by a Nigerian artist. So we encourage local stories, we publish them, we print, we sell. We want to really, build up the African comic book industry. Yeah.
Your own characters are drawn by you.
Yeah.
So you are an illustrator.
Yes, I illustrate too.
So your own characters are created by you.
Yes.
So you are an illustrator.
I'm the creator, publisher, illustrator. Although sometimes I hire other artists to help me, draw my comics, because I can't draw as well as some other artists. There are some who are very, very, very good. So I normally hire other artists to help me draw my stories, and then there are some I draw myself.
Okay.
But since there, as more and more stories come, I can't, handle all the artwork for the comics. So sometimes I outsource to other local artists to help me draw the comics.
Okay. So how well are these comics being received? Are Nigerian children, African children reading these comics? Are they?
Actually, they love it. Like I know when I first published it and then released it and got it distributed nationwide, I started getting a lot of calls from all over the country asking me, they were so interested in this, and when is the next issue coming out? The reaction was very, very, very positive. So that's what even encouraged me to continue. Okay. So, that gave me that motivation to get this right. But I've already, decided that this is something I have to really make sure you do well, that it may be gradual, it may not be an overnight success, but it will be worth it when it's, finally sustainable, properly sustainable.
Okay, yes. Fantastic. So show me one of your own comics.
Okay, one of my own comics.
One of your own.
Okay, like for instance, this is Mask. This was one of the first comics I did.
Mask.
Yes. It's a totally African story about a man who was chosen by the gods to protect the village from a threat from the underworld. So it has a lot of African culture and moral stories, and how they chose him not because he was strong or anything, but because they found he had the most integrity and that he was more morally upright. So apart from an entertaining story, he also teaches moral to children, and also gives them an entertaining story to read.
But why do we tend to be a bit receptive? We tend not to receive our own stories compared to how we receive foreign stories. I mean, it's easier for a lot of children to buy into Spider-Man, and Iron Man, and Wonder Woman and co. than
the local
these kinds of stories. Yeah.
This is, to me, is the fault of us Nigerians, because we like to put importance on foreign stories more than our own. So this is part of the job I want to do. I want to reverse that psychology. I want us to be proud of our own culture and then bring them out, because actually the people who love these stories the most are actually foreigners. They love these African stories. Whenever I post them on Facebook or Instagram, I get a lot of reaction from people from outside the country saying, wow, that they love these African stories. So it shows you that people appreciate this, but we in our own country, we don't want to look at what we have, and we have a treasure trove of African stories. Ever since this Black Panther movie came out, there's actually been a search for African stories from foreign companies. Okay. So this is an opportunity to bring ourselves out, and this is, we're trying to capitalize on it.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thanks
for your time. Thank you.
No problem, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here is the big news. If you're a senior secondary school student out there, the season 4 of our National Book Review Essay Competition starts from this week. Just in case you are not familiar with it, what we do every year is to announce a book, ask senior secondary school students to read it, write an essay of not more than 1,500 words to review it, and send it to us. Our panel of judges assesses all the essays that are sent. They pick the best 3 who are then fully sponsored on a trip to an international book event. Previous winners of this competition went to Frankfurt, London, and Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. The trips are usually fun, very educative, and life-changing for the winners. The grand prize this year for the best 3 participants is a sponsored trip to the 2019 ButcherCon Mystery Books event in Dallas, Texas, United States of America. So, how do you participate? All the information you need can be found on www.channelstv.com/bookclub. You can also call any of the 2 numbers on your screen. But just to let you know, so that you can get on to it, our selected book this year is titled The Pelican of the Wilderness by Jacqueline Agwe. How do you get it? Again, you will have to visit our website for information. Well, I hope you have had a great time with us today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. I am Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.